let's get this done. So today we're going to do some top-down analysis of the market. I'm going to show you exactly how you can actually predict where price is going next. So let's get straight into it, and we can choose whatever in here, just so we have a clean slate. Let's do a random one. We can even do crypto as well. Yeah, doesn't really matter. Let's do USD, Swiss franc. So basically, what you see here right now, right? You want to look at the whole picture and what price is actually doing, right? You want to see, okay, the market is making lower lows and lower highs. That's basically what the market is doing currently. And you also want to see what it has price actually done right here as well. And you can see it broke structure to the downside in here, and it took out this zone right here, right, creating a new lower low. So we're expecting right now that we're going to have a little bit of upsurge in the previous order flow, because price likes to come back into the previous order flow, right? So we could have that expectancy right now that price is coming back in. And why? Right there, it grabbed liquidity on these points right there. It's in this demand zone in here, this demand zone in here. Did it touch into 50 yet? No, it's still in the first level of the demand zone. So we could also expect that price is going to extend to the 50% of this demand zone in here. But first and foremost, we're looking for price to come back into this zone right here. But it did also break below this low in here. This is just me mumbling and also trying to figure out where price is going next. So this demand zone here was a clean break to the downside. So it's basically going to use this right now as a supply to push price further down. So we might see lower prices on USD Swiss franc right now. So now we have a bearish view on the higher time frame in here. So let's head it back into the weekly as well. What do we see on the weekly? Currently stretching into the same place right there, rejecting. This is also supply zone, which was also broken through, but you can see it took out the first level of this supply, and then it broke the clean one. So the 50% of the supply in here was only the one that was intact, and the last line in here. So we should expect lower prices coming in on the lower time frames in here. And this is a supply zone on the daily, came back into this one, and now it's actually pushing, took liquidity right here, and the only thing we basically are looking for right now is a change of market structure to the downside in here to take the sell positions on Swiss franc. That's basically what I'm looking for right now. So I'm just scaling in. I'm seeing that, okay, so this is the high, I guess. Let's see, 84766, 84758. So this is the high. This is the current high. This low created this high, and then it broke to the downside right there. So this was actually a push as well, and then a break to the downside in here. And you can easily see that probably on the lower time frame. So let's head in a little bit deeper in here. So currently we're looking for price to come down, continue with the bearish push to the downside in here. Let's see, we're taking one time frame at a time in here and just mapping out to see and predict where price is going next. So it grabbed all of this liquidity. Where did it come back in? Took liquidity of this high right here. Liquidity of this high, did close above here, right? Did leave anything unmitigated on the top side here to target? Not that I can see right now, so let's skim in a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so it took the 50% of the supply zone in here, left the first. I don't think it actually took it here. It took it here, and then that was the final push to the downside in there. Okay, so we're basically looking for bearish continuations right now, and you can see that the price has starting to create lower lows and lower highs, basically, right? Creating lower lows, lower highs. So right now it has created a lower low on the 30-minute time frame. For a trend continuation, I'm always looking for price to come into the previous order flow, and the previous order flow right now is this lower low to this lower high right there, right? This is the lower high, because this is also a valid lower high right now, because the price has broken structure to the downside right here. And I would be interested to see price come back up in here and then shoot down and create another new lower low, right? So my place for entry right now, I would look for price to come back into this supply zone to push price further down, to extend the leg to the downside right there. So that's basically how you can predict things. But now we know basically where we're targeting, right? It doesn't mean that you need to sit on your hands and just wait for price to come up here. Now you can find setups to get to this point right there. So if we scale in, let's scale in even more, right? We can find setups for price to push to this zone right there. We could look for changes of character to the upside. We want to see let's see a high being violated, so we can get this pattern, right, where price is coming down and then changing to the upside right there, and then you can take and join the trend to the upside on the smaller time frame right now to get up to this point. That's basically what we're trying right now. So let's skim even further in here, and we can see in here we have a change of character on the 1 minute right there. We have liquidity resting on these lows. We have this supply demand zone resting right now here. It took liquidity into the demand zone in here, and now we're actually creating new higher highs in here as well, right? But it hasn't closed above this one, but you actually don't need that right now because it's already taken out this one right here. So this could be the place where you're looking for that low. Could be from this zone right now, waiting for price to come back in and then shoot to the upside, right? Unless price breaks again right here and closes like this, we're waiting for price to come back into the previous order flow and then find the supply or demand zone to push price further up to get to your destination where you want to have your main sell, right? So this is how you can actually plan and predict where price is going in the market. So it's a simple approach. Just look for higher highs, high lows, and lower highs, and see where the higher time frames is going, and then you can predict big moves like this, right? This is a big move right here. We're scalping into a swing trade position basically. So that's everything I got on this. We could potentially do some more time frames as well, or more pairs as well. Let's do one more just so you can get this drilled yourself. So let's just take now. I can actually have this on because everything here is pretty much what you're looking for when you're doing trading. Let's do a random pair in here. Let's look at GBP USD, for example. Do I have any drawings in here? Remove drawings. So clean chart right there. Going to the monthly, seeing what the monthly is actually doing. Right, so we can see that the monthly has broken structure to the downside right there, and is currently moving inside of the previous order flow. The previous order flow is basically this right here to this high right here. This, if you use a green box, that's a really good idea to do, because when price has broken to the downside right here with a closed candle, this is when you can actually draw that green box, and you can look for, you can analyze where you think price is coming back inside of this green box basically. And usually price comes back into unmitigated unmitigated supply zone in here, and you can see on the monthly we are currently in a unmitigated supply zone right there, right? And inside of the supply zone you have 3 different liquidity levels. You have, oh, let me just do this again. So you have the first level, you have the second level, and you have the third level in here. So from one of these points is usually the turnaround point for price to start to move to the downside again. So we are pretty close to where we think that market might push to the downside again, right? So let's see if we can find something on the smaller time frame to push price up to this little run to the highs. That's basically what we're searching for right now. So I think we can skip a lot of time frames just to find that small trade up to this point right there. It's pretty close, right? This is the daily. We're still looking for price to move to the upside. This one just came back into this broken order flow right there. Let's see, it's within the previous order flow right now. If we use a green box here as well, you can see it broke to the upside, coming back in, and now it's pushing again. Gave you a good little bullish candle in there as well. And on the 4 hour, we do have the change of character to the upside in here as well. Right, we do have the change of character on the 4 hour in here. Did it leave any specific supply or demand zones in here? It did, right? It did with this bearish candle plus the wick on the next candle in here. So you're looking for price to come back into this demand zone in here. Demand zone. Took out the first level. We could potentially expect that it's coming back into the middle level of this if price is not going to push further from here, right? From this first level you would expect this to happen. If you see that it's going to turn back, it's very likely that it's coming into the 50% of the demand zone in here. So, and you also have, for you fair value gap traders out there, you also have a fair value gap resting in here as well. So a good potential place to look for a long to actually come up this midline in here, right? And then you could potentially get a pretty decent trade to the upside just by looking at the higher time frame approach, right? Because this is expected right now. So on the lower time frames, it's pretty simple when it comes back into, let's say it's coming back into the zone. You're basically looking for a change of character in here, right? You're looking for a price to tumble down, coming back in, changing, and then starting to run to the upside. You could also potentially look for Wyckoff as well, right? Wyckoff looks a little bit different. You can see this type of movement in here. That's Wyckoff right there. You got the preliminary support, you got your selling climax, AR, ST, sign of strength, and then ST and phase B. You have 2 different schematics with Wyckoff as well. You have this schematic as well, which is this selling climax, AR, ST, sign of strength. Then you have your ST and phase B, and then you have your spring right there, which is leading with this, and then it suddenly moves. So that's also a trading approach I use a lot, Wyckoff. So that's basically how you can analyze the market and do a top-down analysis, right? So right now we are also looking for price to come down into this zone in here, so you could potentially find short opportunities on the lower time frame to actually take the trade to the downside, right? Because that's what we're looking for price to do next. So what is price doing right here? You have the 5 minute, it broke structure to the downside in here, but it did also break the structure to the upside in here, so we might go a little bit deeper. So we have this supply zone which it touched into the first level, so maybe we could look for price to actually come back into this one. I want to use the point of control and see where most of the trading happened within this range right there as well. And you can see within this range you have the most of the liquidity is resting above these highs in here, so we could potentially see that we're going to liquidate this one before we're getting a push to the downside here as well, right? So then I would use this zone right there as my liquidity pool, and then I would look for the first unmitigated supply zone on the upside to actually find my entry. So this was the first supply zone above the liquidity level, and I would look for to get some shorts in here and then push to the downside right there. So that's it. That's basically it. So it doesn't mean you need to sit on your hands now either, right? Because now you know, okay, direction, we're looking for direction always. Where is price likely to go next? So you could go on the smaller time frame and take the trade up to this zone right here. Now you're taking the trade up to this zone, and you're taking the trade down to this zone as well, right? So that's how you basically do it. And you can see I've done it a lot of times on Twitter. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I appreciate that as well. And you can see if I find the correct one though. Let me see. Yeah, for example, here is a prediction I did on BTC using the higher time frame approach, right? So you see, I expected it to come down here, and then I expected it to go up here. Oh, this is actually Solana right here. Okay, but yeah, that's basically how it is. I have some others as well. Have some BTC in here. Let's see if we can find actually that BTC, because that one is pretty nice. Nice as an example for let me see. I think I lost it somehow. Let's see in here. What is this? This is not it. This is not it. Not it. This is not it. There we go. Yeah, this is the one on BTC. Smaller time frame to a higher time frame approach, right? You have the smaller supply into the previous order flow in here, and then I expected a bounce to the upside because it did break structure to the upside in here, and then up to the supply again, and then down to the demand again. So that's basically how we can start predicting the market, right? Coming back into the demand zone, pushing up to the supply zone, and then right back into the demand zone again using the higher time frame approach. So if you have some questions or anything, just join my Discord. It's going to be totally free, and then yeah, let's talk together and have some fun.